All right, so welcome to your personalized deep dive. We're going to be cracking open Tools of Titans by Timothy Ferriss.
Oh, yeah.
You specifically asked for advice on optimizing your life, really actionable advice.
Yeah,
And this book is absolutely packed with insights from some incredibly successful people.
it really is.
I mean, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, you name it.
Yeah, he's got everyone in there.
We'll be exploring productivity hacks, health tips, unconventional wisdom, and some really fascinating mindset shifts.
I think it's so interesting how he goes beyond just interviewing these, quote unquote titans.
Yeah.
He really digs deep into like their daily routines and their habits, their mindsets,
Hmm.
really trying to understand, the systems that they use to achieve success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. First up, morning rituals.
Okay.
I'm curious, what does Tim Ferriss himself do to, as he calls it, win the morning?
Well, he outlines 5 key rituals,
Okay.
but here's the catch.
Hmm.
He doesn't expect you to nail all 5 every single day. Aiming for 3 out of 5 is already a win.
3 out of 5, that's pretty approachable.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me more about these rituals.
Well, the first one is surprisingly simple. Make your bed.
Okay.
It starts your day with a sense of accomplishment,
Right.
just a feeling of order.
Right.
Then there's meditation,
Of course.
which unsurprisingly many Titans swear by.
Yeah, carving out time for mindfulness, it does seem to be a common thread among high achievers, for sure.
It really does.
What else is on the list?
Next is a quick burst of exercise,
Okay.
just 5 to 10 reps of something.
All right.
The goal is just to kickstart your physical energy. It doesn't need to be a full workout.
So make the bed, meditate, quick workout.
Hmm.
What's next?
Then we have titanium tea.
Titanium tea, what is that?
It's a blend of pu'er tea, dragonwell green tea, turmeric, and ginger shavings.
Wow.
It's designed to boost cognition, and it potentially aids in fat loss.
Interesting. Like a morning power-up in a cup?
Exactly.
All right, and what's the final ritual?
The last one is journaling,
Okay.
which Ferriss uses to clarify his thoughts, process emotions, and set intentions for the day.
So these rituals are all about setting a positive tone for the day.
Absolutely.
But you know what happens when we need to make decisions throughout the day? It can get so overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
So many choices.
Yeah, and that's where Derek Sivers' hell yes or no rule comes in.
Okay.
It's a pretty simple but powerful concept for decision making.
So what exactly does it entail?
The rule is this. If you're not feeling a resounding hell yes about something,
Okay.
then it's a no.
Interesting.
It's about being selective with your commitments and only saying yes to things that truly excite you.
Why is saying yes to too many things such a problem?
Well, Sivers argues that it leads to mediocrity.
Okay.
It spreads you too thin, it dilutes your focus,
Huh?
and it prevents you from giving your all to what truly matters.
Right.
He actually almost skipped a trip to Australia because it didn't spark that hell yes initially.
Wow.
But after applying his own rule,
He realized the trip was a unique opportunity and ended up having an incredible experience.
that's a great example of how this rule can help us prioritize
Right.
and consciously choose those experiences that we really want to have.
Absolutely.
But what if fear is holding us back from even considering those, hell yes opportunities?
That's where Tim Ferriss's concept of fear setting comes in.
Okay, fear setting, what is that?
It's not about eliminating fear altogether.
Okay,
It's about understanding it and taking away its power.
how does fear setting actually work?
It involves defining your absolute worst case scenario,
Okay,
the nightmare scenario that's stopping you from taking action.
right.
But then you take a crucial step. You accept it.
Oh, okay.
You look that fear in the eye and say, okay, this could happen, and I'm willing to face it.
But acknowledging your worst fear probably isn't enough, is it?
Exactly. The next step is to strategize how you would recover.
Okay.
You break down that seemingly insurmountable problem into manageable solutions.
Ferriss himself used this technique to overcome his fear of failure when starting new ventures.
Okay.
He realized that even if they failed, the world wouldn't end.
Right.
He'd still have his skills and the ability to bounce back.
So by defining and accepting the worst case scenario, we might realize it's not as terrifying as we imagined.
Precisely. And even if that worst case does happen,
Yeah.
we've already mentally prepared ourselves to navigate it.
Right.
We've taken away fear's power to paralyze us.
This is giving me a lot to think about already.
Good.
We've covered morning rituals, decision-making, tackling fear. What's up next in this deep dive into optimizing our lives?
Let's shift gears and explore the power of the questions we ask ourselves.
Okay.
Tony Robbins has a powerful belief.
Okay.
He says, the quality of your life is the quality of your questions.
That's an interesting idea. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure, so think about it. The questions we ask ourselves shape our thoughts,
Uh-huh.
our emotions, and our actions. So if we're constantly asking negative questions like, why me? Or what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
We're going to stay stuck in negativity and self-doubt.
Yeah.
Robbins suggests that this kind of suffering comes from three main thought patterns: loss, less, and never.
Loss, less, and never.
Yeah.
What do those look like in practice?
Okay, so loss focuses on what we've lost or might lose.
Okay.
Less makes us feel inadequate compared to others,
Uh-huh.
and never convinces us that we'll never achieve our goals or find happiness.
It sounds like asking ourselves the wrong questions can really trap us in a negative spiral.
Totally.
So how do we break free?
The key is to ask better questions.
Hmm.
Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, focus on solutions,
Okay.
possibilities, and growth.
Right.
Ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Or what am I grateful for?
Right.
It's about shifting your focus from problems to possibilities.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in negative self-talk, but consciously choosing to ask empowering questions can make a huge difference.
It really can.
For sure. So this raises an important question for you listening.
Oh,
What are the questions that you habitually ask yourself?
yeah.
Are they helping you grow or holding you back?
That's a great question.
It's a great point, and it's definitely something I'm going to be more mindful of going forward.
I think we all should.
Speaking of questions,
Yeah.
Luis Fanon, the creator of CapTCHA and Duolingo,
Oh, wow. Okay.
he had a fascinating experience with his PhD advisor that taught him the value of saying, I don't understand.
Interesting.
So his advisor, Manuel Bloom, would often pretend not to understand Vanon's explanations.
Okay.
This forced him to think more deeply and articulate his ideas with greater clarity.
So it wasn't about Bloom actually not understanding. It was a deliberate teaching method.
Exactly, yeah. It was a masterclass in critical thinking.
Wow.
It pushed Fawn on to truly refine his understanding and become a better communicator.
I love that.
That's a great reminder that admitting you don't understand something
Yeah.
isn't a sign of weakness, but an opportunity for deeper learning.
And better communication.
For sure.
So we've explored the power of questions, both the ones we ask ourselves and the ones we ask others.
Right.
Before we move on, I'm curious to hear about Kevin Rose's, unique approach to health and biohacking.
Oh, yeah. He shared an interesting anecdote about managing his blood sugar levels.
Okay.
Rose, who's always experimenting with his health,
Yeah.
found that taking a small dose of a carbose with meals helped him maintain stable blood sugar, even after eating high-carb, high-sugar foods.
Really? That sounds almost too good to be true. Where did he learn about this technique?
He picked it up from Dr. Peter Attia, a leading expert on longevity and metabolic health.
Okay.
And the results were pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Rose even shared a screenshot of his blood sugar readings after a meal that included beer, pork chops, cornbread with honey, and potato gnocchi.
Wow, that's quite a feast. And his blood sugar stayed stable.
It did.
I'm impressed.
Now, it's important to note, this is just a personal anecdote,
Of course.
not medical advice.
Right. But it highlights the potential of exploring, unconventional approaches to health and well-being.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good reminder to question the status quo, experiment, and find what works for your own body.
Right.
It's fascinating that Rose, as a tech entrepreneur, might not seem like the obvious person to delve into the science of blood sugar management,
Right.
but it's that willingness to experiment and learn is what led to this discovery.
Totally.
It shows the power of curiosity and self-experimentation when it comes to our health. We can all take control of our well-being, and it starts with asking questions and finding what works best for us.
Absolutely.
Which leads perfectly to our next titan, Dan Carlin, who advocates for a unique approach to personal branding. Copyright your faults.
I love that concept.
It's pretty cool.
It's about taking those things that make you different, those perceived flaws or quirks, and turning them into strengths.
So instead of trying to fit into a mold, you own what makes you stand out. How does that work in practice?
Well, Carlin, who is known for his energetic and sometimes loud style on his Hardcore History podcast,
Yeah, right.
was often told to tone it down. But he realized that intensity was part of what made him unique.
Right.
So he decided to copyright it, to own it, and it became a signature element of his brand.
So it's about turning those perceived weaknesses into assets.
Exactly. It's a powerful message, especially for those who feel like they don't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Your flaws can actually be your greatest assets, helping you stand out in a crowded world.
It's about being authentically yourself and letting your true personality shine.
For sure.
Now let's hear from Damon John, the founder of FUBU and a star of Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He shares a piece of wisdom from his father that stuck with him throughout his incredibly successful career.
Okay.
His father always told him, remember who you are. It might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful, especially when we're bombarded with external pressures and expectations.
It really is, yeah.
It's easy to lose sight of ourselves in the midst of all that noise.
Why is remembering who you are so important?
I think it's about staying grounded in your core identity and values.
Right.
It's about making choices that align with who you are at your core, not who others think you should be.
It's about defining yourself rather than letting the world define you.
I love that.
I love that too. Now let's explore the concept of constructive quitting and mini retirements with Rolf Potts, a writer who advocates for extended periods of travel and exploration.
Oh, interesting.
Potts is known for his book Vagabonding, which encourages people to break free from the traditional 9-to-5 grind
Okay.
and embrace long-term travel and personal growth. He even coined the term constructive quitting.
All right, what exactly is constructive quitting?
Well, it's the art of negotiating sabbaticals or leaves of absence from work.
Okay.
It allows you to experience long-term travel without burning bridges or completely abandoning your career. Potts actually shares a story about an attorney who quit his high-powered job to surf every day in Brazil.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Right. But not everyone can just drop everything and move to Brazil to surf.
Right.
How realistic is this constructive quitting idea for most people?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, it's about challenging the traditional model of work and leisure.
Okay.
Potts encourages us to think beyond the typical 2 weeks of vacation
Right.
and explore options for incorporating adventure and personal growth into our lives.
So it's about finding a way to make it work for your individual circumstances.
Exactly. Maybe it's a sabbatical,
Okay.
a remote work arrangement, or even just strategically using your vacation time for extended travel.
Right.
It's about having the courage to break free from the status quo and create a life that aligns with your passions and values.
That's really inspiring. It's making me think about what changes I could make to create more space for adventure and exploration in my own life.
That's the spirit.
All right, for our final titan in this part of our deep dive,
Right.
let's hear from Andrew Zimmern, the host of Bizarre Foods.
Oh, yeah. I love his show.
He has a powerful story about the importance of being yourself, not your inner actor.
I'm curious to hear this.
He tells a story from the first episode of his show,
Okay.
where he visited a restaurant in Tokyo with a rather, shall we say, suggestive name, Morning Erections.
Oh, my.
I bet he had plenty of jokes ready to go.
Yeah, he probably did.
Oh, it did. He was ready to play the role of the witty, sarcastic host,
Yeah.
but then something stopped him.
What was it?
A voice inside said, "Don't do it. If you start playing a character, you'll have to maintain that persona all the time. Be yourself." So he resisted the temptation to go for the cheap laugh.
Good for him.
He did. He chose authenticity over humor, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions of his career.
Wow.
It helped him build a reputation for respecting other cultures and being genuine on camera.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's such a powerful story. It really highlights the importance of being true to yourself.
For sure.
It's about recognizing that our true selves are far more interesting and compelling than any persona we could create.
Absolutely.
It sounds like authenticity is ultimately more rewarding, both personally and professionally.
It really is.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from morning rituals and decision-making to facing our fears and embracing authenticity.
Yeah.
But we've only scratched the surface of Tools of Titans.
I know. There's so much more to explore.
There's so much more to explore in this treasure trove of wisdom.
Right. I'm excited for more.
Me too. We'll be back soon to uncover more insights from these incredible titans
Okay.
and continue our journey towards optimizing our lives.
Sounds great.
Until then, keep those questions coming.
Absolutely. Welcome back. I'm eager to continue our exploration of Tools of Titans.
Me too. We've already uncovered some incredible insights, but I'm ready for more. Where do we go from here?
Let's talk about understanding the hidden costs of our beliefs.
Okay.
Tim Ferriss borrows an idea from Charles Dickens
Oh, interesting.
called the Dickens process to help us identify and challenge those limiting beliefs that might be holding us back.
The Dickens process. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So it uses vivid imagery and emotional contrast to expose the negative consequences of clinging to certain beliefs. Ferriss suggests a powerful exercise.
Okay.
Imagine 2 scenarios, 10 years in the future.
Okay.
In the first, You've continued to live with a particular limiting belief. What does your life look like?
Hmm.
And in the second scenario, you've let go of that belief. How has your life improved? What new possibilities have opened up?
Wow, I can see how that would be impactful. By contrasting those two scenarios, we can really feel the potential cost of holding on to those limiting beliefs.
Exactly. It's like a wake-up call. It helps you see those hidden costs that you might not even realize are there.
Yeah, it forces you to confront those beliefs head on and consider the possibility of a different future.
Speaking of different futures, let's dive into Naval Ravikant's thoughts on challenging the traditional path to success, especially in education.
Okay.
He's a successful entrepreneur and investor who dropped out of college and forged his own path.
I'm always interested in hearing from people who've taken unconventional paths. What does Ravikant have to say about traditional education?
He believes that focusing solely on grades, degrees, and prestigious institutions can lead to conformity and misplaced priorities. He argues that true learning happens through curiosity, self-directed exploration, and building specific knowledge, skills, and judgment.
So it's about focusing on what you're genuinely interested in, not just following a predetermined path.
Precisely. And
Well,
he emphasizes the importance of specific knowledge,
specific knowledge.
which you can't easily learn from books or lectures.
What exactly is specific knowledge? Can you give me an example?
Sure, so it's the kind of expertise you gain through experience, like mastering a niche programming language or becoming a regional expert on antique furniture restoration. It's about becoming uniquely valuable in something that truly interests you.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about developing a deep understanding of a particular area which can be much more valuable than just general knowledge.
Right, and this ties into Ravikant's belief in the power of leverage.
Leverage in the context of work and career. I'm curious to hear his take on that.
He defines leverage as the ability to do more with less.
Okay.
And in the context of work, it means finding ways to amplify your efforts, your skills, and your knowledge to create a greater impact. He believes the best forms of leverage today are through code, media, and capital.
That's an interesting combination. Could you break that down further?
Sure, so code allows you to create software and technology that can reach millions of people.
Okay.
Media allows you to share your ideas and stories with a global audience. And capital allows you to invest in and support other creators and entrepreneurs, multiplying your impact.
It's about using tools and networks to magnify your efforts and reach a wider audience. I like that. It reminds me of Kevin Kelly's idea of finding your 1,000 true fans.
Ah, yes. Kelly, the founding executive editor of Wired magazine, believes that creators don't need millions of fans to be successful. They just need 1,000 true fans, those deeply connected to their work and willing to support them directly.
What makes these true fans so special?
They're the ones who buy everything you produce, attend your events, and spread the word about your work. Kelly argues that with 1,000 true fans, a creator can earn a sustainable living, maintain creative freedom, and build a loyal following.
That's a really empowering concept, especially for creators who feel overwhelmed by the pressure to go viral or reach a mass audience. It shifts the focus from chasing popularity to building genuine connections.
And it ties into the idea of permissionless apprenticeship that comes up in Tools of Titans.
Permissionless apprenticeship, what does that mean exactly?
So it's about taking ownership of your learning and development. You don't need formal permission to learn from the best. Seek out mentors and role models and create opportunities to learn from their experience, even if it's not through traditional channels.
So it's about being proactive and finding creative ways to learn from people you admire.
Exactly. Reach out to people whose work you respect, offer your time and skills, and find ways to contribute to their projects. It's about learning by doing and surrounding yourself with people who are already doing what you aspire to do.
It sounds like a great way to accelerate your learning and build valuable connections. Now, on a slightly different note, how do the Titans in this book deal with failure? It's something we all experience, but it can be tough to bounce back from.
It's interesting how failure is a recurring theme throughout Tools of Titans.
Yeah.
Many of these successful individuals have faced setbacks and rejections along their journeys. But instead of letting those experiences define them, they've used them as fuel for growth.
So it's about embracing failure as a learning opportunity. Do any of the Titans offer specific advice on how to do that?
James Altucher, an entrepreneur and investor, has a mantra that resonates with me. Ideas are the currency of life. He encourages people to brainstorm at least 10 ideas every day, no matter how crazy or impractical they might seem.
10 ideas every day, that seems like a lot. What's the point of generating so many ideas?
It's about exercising the creative muscle. and getting comfortable with ideation. The goal isn't necessarily to come up with good ideas every time. Altucher believes that quantity leads to quality. The more you brainstorm, the more likely you are to stumble upon something truly innovative and valuable.
So it's about embracing that messy, iterative process of creation rather than getting stuck in perfectionism.
Exactly. And he even suggests dropping your standards when you're feeling stuck. Lower your expectations and just get something down on paper.
Mm,
It's about overcoming that initial hurdle and letting the ideas flow.
that's great advice, and not just for entrepreneurs. It applies to any creative endeavor, really. It reminds me of the importance of storytelling. Everyone has a story to tell, but not everyone knows how to tell it in a way that captures people's attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alex Blumberg, CEO and co-founder of Gimlet Media, a podcasting company, offers some valuable insights on crafting compelling stories.
Given his experience in podcasting, I'm sure he has some great tips. What does he focus on?
He emphasizes the importance of finding the stakes in a story.
Okay.
What's at risk for the characters? What are the potential consequences of their actions? He believes that stakes create tension and intrigue, keeping listeners engaged.
It's about creating a sense of urgency and making the audience care about what happens next. What else does he highlight?
Bloomberg also stresses the importance of finding the arc of a story, the transformation or journey that the characters undergo.
Okay.
How do they change, grow, or learn as a result of their experiences?
It's about showing how the characters evolve over time rather than just telling the audience what happened.
Right, and finally, he highlights the power of revealing action. Instead of telling the audience what's happening, show it to them through vivid details, sensory language, and dialogue.
That makes the story come alive for the listener. It allows them to really experience the story, not just hear about it.
Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about networking and relationships. It's a topic that can feel a bit intimidating or even sleazy to some people.
I know what you mean, but it's definitely an important aspect of building a successful career or business. Does Tools of Titans offer any guidance on how to approach networking in an authentic and meaningful way?
Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, offers some valuable insights.
Okay.
He emphasizes the importance of providing value to others before asking for anything in return.
So it's about building genuine connections, not just collecting business cards.
Exactly. Show a genuine interest in others, find ways to help them succeed, and build relationships based on trust and mutual benefit. He even introduces a concept called the network intelligence ratio.
The network intelligence ratio, what's that? That sounds intriguing.
It's a measure of how effectively you use your network to gather information, solve problems, and create opportunities. Hoffman believes the most successful people are those who constantly expand their networks, connecting with people from diverse backgrounds.
So it's not just about the size of your network, but how effectively you use it.
Precisely. And he stresses the importance of paying it forward, helping others in your network succeed, even if there's no immediate benefit to you.
It's about creating a culture of generosity and reciprocity, knowing that by supporting others, you're creating a more supportive environment for yourself as well.
Now let's talk about setting ambitious goals and breaking them down into actionable steps. This is where the concept of BHAs comes in.
PHAs, what does that stand for?
It stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals.
Okay.
The term was coined by Jim Collins and Jerry Porras in their book Built to Last. These are goals that are so ambitious and challenging that they inspire you to push beyond your limits.
It's about setting a goal that truly excites you and motivates you to achieve extraordinary results. But once you've set that big, audacious goal, how do you actually make it happen? It can feel overwhelming.
That's where reverse engineering comes in. You start with your ultimate goal and then work backward, identifying the key milestones and actions that will lead you there.
So it's about creating a step-by-step roadmap, making that daunting goal feel more manageable.
Exactly. It breaks down the goal into smaller, more achievable steps, which can help you build momentum and stay motivated. And this ties into another great concept from Tools of Titans, the Seinfeld strategy for building consistency.
Okay, the Seinfeld strategy. Tell me more about that.
So it's attributed to comedian Jerry Seinfeld,
Okay.
and it's surprisingly simple. Get a calendar,
Okay.
and for every day that you complete your desired task,
Uh-huh.
put a big X on that day.
So it's like a visual representation of your progress.
Yes, the goal is to create a chain of X's, motivating you to keep it going. The longer the chain gets, the more reluctant you'll be to break it.
It's a simple but effective way to build a habit and create a sense of momentum. It reminds me of the importance of developing a strong mindset, especially in the face of adversity. Is that something that comes up in Tools of Titans?
Absolutely. The concept of Stoicism is a recurring theme.
I've heard of Stoicism, but I'm not sure I fully understand it. Can you explain it in simple terms?
So it's an ancient philosophy that emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in accordance with nature. One of its key principles is learning to control your emotions, particularly in challenging situations.
So it's about staying calm and composed even when things get tough.
Exactly. Ryan Holiday, a writer and entrepreneur who is a modern-day proponent of Stoicism,
Okay.
offers some great insights on how to apply these principles to everyday life.
What does he suggest?
He emphasizes focusing on what you can control,
Okay.
accepting what you can't,
Right.
and developing resilience in the face of adversity.
That's easier said than done, of course, but it makes sense. Dwelling on things you can't change just leads to frustration and anxiety.
Holiday argues that by focusing on our own actions, thoughts, and responses, we can find inner peace, even when the world around us feels chaotic. True strength comes from within, from our ability to choose our attitude and response to whatever life throws our way.
That's a powerful message. It's about taking ownership of your own inner state rather than letting external circumstances dictate your emotions. On a similar note, let's talk about mindfulness and appreciating the little things in life. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life and forget to slow down and appreciate the simple things.
That's where the power of mindfulness comes in. It's about paying attention to the present moment without judgment and cultivating a sense of gratitude for the simple pleasures.
And what better way to cultivate mindfulness than through meditation? Does Tools of Titans touch on that?
Yes, it does. Sam Harris, a neuroscientist and author, is a strong advocate for meditation.
Okay.
He shares some great insights on how to develop a regular meditation practice.
I've tried meditation in the past, but I've struggled to stick with it. What are some of the key things that Harris emphasizes?
He stresses the importance of finding a comfortable posture,
Okay.
focusing on your breath, and gently redirecting your attention whenever your mind wanders.
Right.
He also points out that meditation isn't about emptying your mind completely, but rather learning to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
So it's about developing a sense of awareness and detachment from your thoughts.
Exactly. And the benefits of regular meditation are well documented. Reduced stress, improved focus, increased self-awareness, and greater emotional resilience.
It sounds like a worthwhile practice, even if it takes some time and effort to develop. Now, switching gears a bit, let's talk about the importance of sleep. It's something that's often sacrificed in our busy lives, but we all know how important it is for our physical and mental health.
You're absolutely right. You know, in a world that often glorifies busyness and productivity, sleep is often seen as a luxury. But Sean Stevenson, a health and wellness expert, reminds us that sleep is crucial for our overall well-being.
What are some of his key insights on improving sleep quality?
He emphasizes creating a consistent sleep schedule,
Okay.
avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed,
Yeah.
and optimizing your sleep environment by making it dark, cool, and quiet.
Those are all great tips, but sometimes life gets in the way of a consistent sleep schedule. Are there other things we can do to improve our sleep, even when our schedules are unpredictable?
He also recommends exposing yourself to natural light during the day,
Okay.
engaging in regular exercise, and managing stress levels, all of which can positively impact sleep quality.
It's all about creating those healthy habits that support restful sleep. Speaking of healthy habits, let's talk about movement and physical activity. It's easy to get stuck in a sedentary routine, especially with our increasingly digital lives.
Oh, you're telling me. But Kelly Starrett, a physical therapist and mobility expert,
Okay.
reminds us that our bodies are designed to move. Regular physical activity is essential for our health, energy levels, and overall well-being.
What does he suggest we do to incorporate more movement into our lives?
He emphasizes getting up and moving regularly throughout the day,
Oh,
even if it's just for a few minutes at a time.
right.
He also highlights the importance of incorporating a variety of movements into your routine.
Like what kind of movements?
Stretching, strength training, cardiovascular exercise. It's about finding what works for you and making it a regular part of your life. Also stresses the importance of listening to your body, taking breaks when you need them, and avoiding activities that cause pain.
It's about finding that balance between challenging yourself and respecting your body's limits. Now, on a related note, let's talk about nutrition. We're bombarded with so much conflicting information about what to eat, it's hard to know what's truly healthy. Does Tools of Titans offer any insights into this?
Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a biomedical scientist and expert on nutrition, provides some valuable guidance on optimizing your diet. She emphasizes the importance of eating whole, unprocessed foods.
That sounds like a good starting point. What kinds of foods does she recommend specifically?
Fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, all the good stuff.
Of course.
And, of course, she advises limiting processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats.
It's about focusing on those nutrient-rich foods that fuel your body and support your health. What other dietary advice does she offer?
She also stresses the importance of getting adequate amounts of essential nutrients, like vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants.
So it's not just about what you eat, but also ensuring you're getting all the essential nutrient that your body needs.
Exactly. It's about creating a well-rounded and balanced approach to nutrition.
Now, for something a little more unconventional, let's talk about cold exposure. I've heard it can have health benefits, but it's not exactly something I'm eager to jump into.
I understand the hesitation. But Wim Hof, the Iceman as he's known, is a big advocate for cold exposure.
Okay.
He believes it can boost your immune system, increase energy levels, improve mood, and reduce inflammation.
Yeah, I've seen videos of him doing some pretty incredible things in freezing temperatures. But for someone who's new to cold exposure, where do you even start?
He recommends starting with short exposures to cold water, like cold showers, and gradually increasing the duration and intensity over time.
So it's about easing yourself into it and finding what works for your body. That makes sense. Now, switching gears again, let's talk about breath work. It's something we do unconsciously all the time, but I've heard that conscious breath work can have powerful benefits. Does Tools of Titans explore this?
It does. James Nestor, author of Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art, delves deep into the science of breath work.
Okay.
He explores a variety of techniques from different cultures and traditions, including pranayama, holotropic breath work, and the Wim Hof method.
That's quite a range. What are some of the key takeaways from his research?
He emphasizes the importance of breathing through your nose, slowing down your breathing rate, and engaging in regular breathwork practices to experience its transformative benefits.
It's about bringing conscious awareness to our breath and using it as a tool to regulate our emotions and improve our well-being.
Now, this next topic might be a bit controversial.
Okay.
Are you ready to talk about psychedelics?
It's definitely a topic that's often surrounded by stigma and misinformation, but I'm open to hearing what Tools of Titans has to say about it.
Okay, so Dr. James Fadiman, a pioneer in psychedelics research, has been studying the therapeutic benefits of these substances for decades. He shares some insights on how to safely and effectively use them for personal growth, healing, and spiritual exploration.
This is clearly a sensitive topic. What does he emphasize when it comes to responsible psychedelic use?
Well, he stresses the importance of setting clear intentions, creating a safe and supportive environment, and working with experienced guides or facilitators when exploring these substances. He also acknowledges the potential risks and challenges associated with psychedelic use.
It sounds like it's not something to be taken lightly. It requires careful consideration and preparation.
Absolutely, he emphasizes approaching these substances with respect, caution, and a deep understanding of their effects.
It's about recognizing that psychedelics can be powerful tools for healing and growth, but they need to be used responsibly and with proper guidance. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about purpose and meaning. It's something that many people struggle with, especially in a world that often prioritizes material success and external validation.
That's a great point. Dr. B.J. Miller, a palliative care physician,
Okay.
offers a unique perspective on what truly matters in life.
Okay.
He's spent his career working with people facing death, which has given him profound insights into the human experience.
I can only imagine the wisdom he's gained from those experiences. What does he emphasize when it comes to finding meaning and purpose?
He encourages people to live a life that is aligned with their values, to pursue their passions, and to make a positive contribution to the world.
It's about finding something that gives your life meaning, beyond material possessions or achievements.
Exactly. He argues that by focusing on what truly matters, we can find peace, fulfillment, and joy, even in the face of life's inevitable challenges.
That's a really beautiful and inspiring message. It reminds me of the importance of gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in what we lack and forget to appreciate what we already have.
You're absolutely right, and the truth is, practicing gratitude can have a profound impact on our happiness, well-being, and overall outlook on life.
Does Tools of Titans offer any guidance on cultivating gratitude?
Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading researcher on gratitude,
Okay.
shares some great insights. He suggests making gratitude a daily practice by taking time each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for, whether big or small.
That sounds simple enough. What are some practical ways to incorporate gratitude into our daily lives?
He recommends keeping a gratitude journal, writing down a few things you're grateful for each day.
Okay.
He also suggests expressing gratitude to others, taking the time to thank the people who make a positive difference in your life.
It's about making gratitude a conscious and deliberate part of our lives. Now, on a slightly more challenging note, let's talk about forgiveness. It can be incredibly difficult to forgive someone who has hurt us deeply.
It's true, forgiveness can be a long and difficult process.
Yeah.
But Dr. Fred Luskin, director of the Stanford Forgiveness Project, emphasizes that forgiveness is ultimately a gift we give ourselves.
How so?
It frees us from the burden of anger and resentment
Right.
that can weigh us down and prevent us from moving forward.
Right.
He acknowledges that forgiveness takes time and effort, and he offers some guidance on how to navigate this challenging process.
What does he suggest?
He recommends practicing empathy, trying to understand the perspective of the person who has wronged you.
Okay.
He also suggests focusing on the present moment, letting go of the past, and choosing to move forward with compassion and understanding.
It's about recognizing that holding on to anger and resentment ultimately hurts us more than it hurts the other person.
Now, for a topic that's fundamental to the human experience,
Mm.
let's talk about love and connection. We're social creatures, hardwired for connection and belonging, but building and maintaining healthy relationships can be challenging.
It can be. What insights does Tools of Titans offer in this area?
Dr. Brené Brown, a researcher and storyteller who studies courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy, emphasizes the importance of cultivating authentic relationships.
What does that look like in practice?
It's about showing up for the people in our lives, being present, and being willing to be vulnerable and share our true selves. She argues that true belonging comes from being seen, heard, and loved for who we truly are, imperfections and all.
It's about embracing our imperfections and allowing ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, which can be scary, but ultimately deeply rewarding.
Now, for a topic that many people shy away from,
Oh.
are you ready to talk about death?
It's definitely a subject that's often avoided, but I'm open to exploring it. What perspective does Tools of Titans offer on death?
Stephen Jenkinson, a teacher, author, and speaker who works in the realm of grief and dying,
Okay.
has a unique and thought-provoking perspective.
Okay. He argues that death is not the opposite of life, but rather a part of life, a force that shapes and informs our experiences.
That's an interesting way to look at it. What does he suggest we do with this awareness of death?
He encourages us to embrace death,
Okay.
to talk about it openly, and to integrate it into our understanding of life. He believes that by doing so, we can live more authentically, appreciate the beauty and fragility of life, and make choices that align with our values and our deepest desires.
It's about recognizing that our time on this planet is finite and making the most of each moment. It's a powerful reminder to live intentionally and make choices that are truly aligned with what matters most to us.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Tools of Titans,
Yeah.
and I'm amazed by the breadth and depth of wisdom it offers. It's truly a treasure trove of insights. But I have a feeling there's even more to come. I'm eager to hear what other gems we'll uncover in our final exploration of this incredible book. Welcome back to our deep dive into Tools of Titans. I feel like we've been on an incredible journey, exploring everything from morning rituals to the meaning of life and death.
It's been a whirlwind of insights, that's for sure, and we still have more to uncover in this final part of our exploration.
I'm ready for more. What's next on our agenda?
Let's step back and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay.
What does it mean to truly optimize our lives?
Right.
In a world obsessed with productivity and achievement and always striving for more,
Yeah.
it's easy to lose sight of what really matters.
Yeah, I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, myself included. We get caught up in the hustle and we forget to prioritize happiness, fulfillment, and, living in alignment with our values.
Exactly, and that's where, lifestyle design comes in.
Okay, lifestyle design.
It's about consciously creating a life that's tailored to your individual needs, passions, and values.
Right.
A life that brings you joy, meaning, and purpose.
So it's about taking control and designing a life that fits you rather than trying to fit into a predefined mold.
Precisely. It recognizes that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to a good life.
Yeah.
We each have the power to create a life that works for us.
It's a really empowering concept. Are there any tools or principles that can help us with this lifestyle design process?
One helpful principle is the 80-20 principle,
Okay.
also known as the Pareto principle.
I've heard of that.
It states that roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes.
Okay, so in the context of lifestyle design, How would we apply that principle?
So think about the activities in your life that bring you the most joy,
Okay.
satisfaction, and results.
Okay.
Those are your 20%.
Yeah.
Focus your time and energy on those things and be willing to let go of the things that drain you and don't contribute to your overall well-being.
So it's about being intentional with our time and energy and making sure we're investing it in the areas that truly matter to us.
Exactly. It's a continuous process of evaluation and adjustment.
Right.
As we grow and evolve, our priorities may shift, and that's okay.
Right.
It's about being flexible and adaptable in our approach to lifestyle design.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Tools of Titans, I'm struck by the incredible diversity of perspectives and insights we've encountered.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
From productivity hacks to philosophical reflections on life and death,
Uh-huh.
it's been an incredible journey.
It has.
It's a testament to the power of seeking wisdom from a variety of sources.
It really is.
There's no one right way to live, and we can learn from people who have taken different paths and found success in different areas of life.
Absolutely.
Before we say goodbye, I'd love to leave our listener with one final thought to ponder.
Okay.
In a world that's constantly pushing us to optimize and improve, what does it mean to optimize for happiness and fulfillment, not just achievement?
That's a powerful question. It's a reminder that true success isn't just about external validation or
Right.
material wealth.
Yeah.
It's about living a life that feels meaningful, purposeful, and joyful.
Yeah.
A life that aligns with our values and deepest desires.
It's about defining success on our own terms and creating a life that truly reflects who we are and what we want to contribute to the world.
I love that.
And it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There's no finish line when it comes to optimizing our lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ongoing process of learning, growing, and evolving.
So true.
So to our listener, I encourage you to reflect on the insights that resonated most strongly with you during this deep dive.
Yeah.
What tools and principles are you excited to experiment with in your own life? Which questions sparked your curiosity and inspired you to dig deeper? Remember, there's no one right answer. It's all about finding what works for you and creating a life that brings you joy, meaning, and fulfillment. Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep optimizing for a life that is uniquely yours.